Okay, now that we've got the tassels and the selvage cord in the end of the snowshoe, we're going to start the process of filling the smaller end first. We're going to be using a nylon twine, and all the rest of the snowshoe is filled with a poly. This one's a nylon is that the only product that you can get in a white. Now, for the tools that we're going to use, this is basically all we need for the filling process. I use an old glasses case because it keeps all these sharp objects away from anything that I'm carrying in my travel kit. You'll need a good sharp carpet knife. You'll need an awl, a cigarette lighter, and some form of a pick similar to a crochet hook. Now, I've made these ones out of old stainless steel medical tools simply because they don't break. I can make them nice and small, especially for this particular part for hooking the twine between the tight corners of the string, and the flat surface makes it very convenient to hold. So now for this snowshoe, I've got to measure off, in this particular case here, it's approximately 24 feet to fill this end. Now, in order to use this twine effectively, we have to burn off the ends because it would keep fraying and knot and become a significant mess. So, a little trick of fusing the nylon and then using wet fingers, and basically we're creating a needle point on one end with a little twist, and then we'll smooth it off with the flame. And the other end, it's a little blunter. What we have to do is we have to secure this string in this one of the corners. I'm going to pick this one here. Now, the problem with these kinds of twines is if you tied conventional reef knots or bowline knots, it's going to be rather big and cumbersome, and it gets in the way sometimes, or it will be the weakest point that could come off should it wear prematurely. For these, what I do is I create an eye with the awl, and the poly twines will do it a lot easier. The nylon has a tendency to want to close the hole up again. I'll just do it both sides to try and squeeze it back out. Wet it. Now I'll take my end and I'll put through here, and we'll see if we can get this in. So all we're going to do is get this up through here. That's our first step. That's the join. That particular method of joining the twine will be used for the bigger polys also. So that's secured there. There's no big knot. Now, in order to make this process a little simpler, because that's 24 feet of string, and 24 feet doing single feeds will cause a lot of twist in the twine. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to sneak back and double it up. I always start in just my own preference in the right hand corner, and now we've got to get this around the selvage cord, in the middle on the top, and never pull these twines fast, the nylons or the polys. This is a nylon, but it's braided. And if you cause a lot of friction, you'll start the twine to melt and actually get hot. So we've got the first one goes to the middle. I still got this loop pinched in my fingers. I'm going to go all the way over to this corner. Now here is down through, and this is important, down through continuously, or the web just won't work, the weaving. So I'll pull this all out of the way. Make sure this is in the middle, and it's balanced, and then we go around once. Now, I'll just pull this, and as you notice, we went here. This cord is on the top of the one that follows on. This one is on the top of the one that's following here. So that's critical to the pattern for the weave. When I come, I'm leaving underneath this twine. I stay over this one before I go down behind the selvage cord again. And again, down through. Now we'll try to keep most of the twist out of the twine to give us a nice pattern in our weave. Now this one was under here, now it's over on this one. So now we come over here, we've got to go under this one to get to this selvage cord. At this particular point, there's no weave. All we're doing is just lapping the twine. The only time you start the weave is when you introduce a third twine to any part of this configuration. Again, down through. So it's under here, it has to be over here. Again, I'll work out some of the twists. So now we're once around. So now we're starting the second run. Again, we're under, very important. So we stay over. Down through the selvage cord again. We'll put all the loose stuff through. You'll notice it'll start to gather twist. So intermittently, stop and just run your thumb the length of the string this left for the balance. That'll take the twist out. All I'm doing is just pulling it through my thumb, and then I'll gather it up again and get another loop. It just shortens the run that I have to pull through. So take out some of the twists. Secure it down through. Again, you see this twist went from the left to the right, under. We're going to go left to the right, under again. Now, in order to achieve your weave and some kind of symmetry to the pattern, the distancing up here should almost match the same distancing down here. Now, it's not quite as noticeable yet because we've only got the second run. When we get to third and fourth runs, that's when you'll see the difference. Now, so we've just started our second time around. Now, in this particular case, I'll go down through again. However, because of the positioning of the twine, we have to go around once. Now, in this case here, if we went around this string and tried to go over here, it's going to coincide exactly with this one. It'll override this one. So there's a little loop that you have to do here, and that happens in every second run until the top is filled in. And as we progress, you'll see it, and I can explain further how. So in order to get this string parallel to this one and not interfere and have a congested thing of 3 or 4 knots, we do a loop down through the selvage cord, And I'll get this through and then enlarge it a little. So I go down through and I come up with the salvage cord. So I have to secure this so that it's fairly snug, but I don't want to pull it way over there. I have to keep it close to this one. So slight pressure, and then I pull this loop. What this loop is, it just moves this next run to be parallel here. Now, that one we went to the top. When we get over here, we've got to go up there again. So what we're going to have to do is replicate this little loop, and I'll open it up so you can see it. So all we've done is we've secured this, so I'll pinch it with my fingers. We've got this little twist. Now, and again, we go down through. And now, you'll see that this run, this horizontal run, is going to be parallel to this first one. Now, we were under on this side. Now we have to be over on this side, same as this one. The further you progress with the filling, easier it's going to be to be able to see why we have to maintain those particular components of it. Do not go fast, or you'll make a mistake in the middle and have to come back and either cut it out or start over. So, we're over here again. Now, when we do this move on the left, everything has to be replicated on the right. So what we're going to be doing is we have our center one, we got one tie into the top on the left, now we've got to mimic that and have one on the right. If you end up and you find yourself over here with two, you've made a mistake. So we go down through again. And then up. Most of the twist is gone. Now, we have to create this little twist again to make that stay parallel and secure it so we can go up here. If we tried to go to the top, everything's going to shift and it'll open up on you. So we're going to come back here. We're going to put our end down through this one here and sneak up through. We'll get all this out of the way so you can see. So we've got that little loop, but we've got to go under. And that'll secure it. Now, that prevents this horizontal run from slipping up, but it gives us a true path for the next diagonal on the right hand side of the center. Again, down through. Take out some of the twist. Down around again, and as similar underneath, similar to these two. Do a little spacing. Now when we proceed to the left hand corner, these diagonal runs are over these horizontal. So we maintain that. Again, pull our slack out of the way. Now, on this side, it seems to work better if we don't do a twist, maintaining the parallel runs, and you'll see it as we advance it. On this side here, if we don't do a twist, this one wants to slip back on us. So the only difference in these two is we'll come up here. We're going to go over that. Now in this particular case, I don't want to use the end of my long twine, because if I put the end and pull it through here, this is where the weavers start, because we've got 2 strings. Now we're introducing the 3rd leg. So we got to go this way. So we have to do the weave. If you started the weave from the end of the string, it'll ball up on you. So in this particular case, we're going to go through individually with a short length. So we're over here. Every time you cross a string, you do the opposite. We're under here, then we're over, and under, and over. That has created the weave start in this particular corner. And you only weave when you have 3 twines. Now we're going to pull the whole length of our remaining string through, and 2 things that'll do is it'll remove all this twist that was gathering up in the string, and then it'll give us an opportunity to tighten that back. Now we can go back to the loop to shorten the twine, just for expediency's sake. And we're going to go down through again. Now this process will continue until the top portion is filled and the twines meet in the middle. After they meet in the middle, we'll do it in the next session, the weave will continue completely around, just like going in a triangle. But for now, we have to get the top filled with the aid of using this little loop at every second run. Now in this case here, our next string has to go this way, but we have to put the little twist there to prevent it from doing any slipping. So we're going to come up through now, do our little twist. This string was over, so all of this main run has to go under, as do these 2 horizontal runs. Little tension. We don't want to put it too tight because it will gather. It'll gradually get tension by the introduction of all the weaving closer to when we're about 3/4 full. Okay, we're under here, so we're over on this side. Now back to the pattern. This side was a diagonal because we just did this particular loop. Here's the loop, so the default is on this side we have to go down through and make a weave now on this corner. So what we're doing again is we're repeating each side the same, whatever we did, whether it's the twist over or the loop, we continue it till we get the top done, and then we're progressing to the middle of the fill. Take out some twist. Now in this case we're going to go this way, so we'll get our loop up through, and again the string continued over these. Now we have to go under and start the weave for this corner, just to do exactly the same thing that we did right there. Make sure you pull the work back so you don't blind yourself with too much twine and get tangled up in where you're supposed to go. I pull that back, I can see this is the next one. Over, under. Now this retaining string, this is where you see the significance of this. It stops this from blowing up everywhere. So in this case we're between here. I'm going to pull that back, and we can adjust these a little bit. In this particular case, this is already secured by the selvage cord. So down through again, And we're under here, so we're over here. And we'll relax the string and get some more twist out of it. You can see the twist run out. Now we'll shorten it up as a loop. And we're going to start the next diagonal run to the left hand side. Down through, up, a little twist, check on our spacing. Now we've got to go down to this corner again. And rather than take, because what we're trying to do is we're going to get down to this corner, and we don't want to go down here again because there's no way of getting so that we can maintain a parallel run across here. We're going to have to do this loop knot again, but we don't go to the bottom. We go to pick up this one. This is a secure loop. It won't slip. If we try to put it around here, it'll pull this one completely up. So check our spacing, give it a little tug back in the corners, and you can see it impacts on everything. Now we'll put our loop down through this secured loop again, up through, get everything out of the way, take out the twist, that's secured. Now we have to go down through again for this loop. We'll get this all out of the way so you can see it. Don't get frustrated with the tangles, that's a lot of string. Now, I'll pull it back a little so we can see it. So we've secured down here, a little tiny bit of pressure with my finger underneath. Secure the loop. Snug it, and the nylon has a really good tendency to bite onto the selvage cord braid. Say we go back under, and we maintain, we're under, similar to these three runs, we're going to be under for the fourth one, but over on this side. Now, on this side, we just adjust our gapping. We did the loop for this horizontal run. So, the default is we have to do it again here to get the second run on the right-hand side of our center line. Okay, we're up through here, and same thing is over on this side. We're not going to go all the way down to the corner of the selvage cord. We're going to sneak in here to that first loop. Now we're going to come up through here again. So we can see that. We went down through here. We picked up the loop behind this first one. Secure that. And now we go back, as all these runs do. They're under on this side. And down through the selvage cord. Now a little twist, and then we're going to proceed, and a lot of this would be default. As soon as you pull your string tight, you're going to say, hey, where am I going? Basically, we're trying to match and stay parallel with everything was done previously. So we give that a little tug back, squeeze up the knot. Now we're going back down here on this side of this securing line, and we're going to do another diagonal to match this, full weave up to here. And again, I don't want to use the long end of the twine because it'll just introduce more twist. I'll get enough going here, bring it back to an approximate positioning, and then I can use this little double loop to take a weave in. And just watch your cross sections. Every place there's an X, we have to weave. So you wouldn't want to go in there. You wouldn't want to skip it and go out here, because if you skip it and go out here, you got two X's in the twine, two crossovers. So the weave ensures that we only have one crossover. This one's a little confusing. Make sure you push it back. So we've got that weave finished. Now we're going to pull the loose end through, and that'll eliminate, again, the twist that's gathered up that we've done so far. And you can see it balling up here, so a little bit of pressure there will stop it from kinking in there. That's our burnt end, wants to stick, but there we go. So give a little tension, square it up. At this particular point, I'm going to give these a little tug back, and our distancing here between these runs at the center points is pretty well on up here. Adjustments can be made after we get the top row finished, but it's critical that you don't have one of these way over there or way over there, because it'll take everything off the parallel. So we're going to drag that back a little, give it a little tension, and again, down through. And up through. So now our default is, hey, we've got to maintain this path. We're going in this direction, follow this guy here. Just don't overlap it. We have to go under on this side. And over on this side, similar to those. Tension, pinch. Now I'm going to check my spacing. Now in this particular case, I'm going to go down through the selvage cord again. So we've come over on the right hand side. We've gone down through the selvage cord. We just finished the weave here. We had one weave in this corner, the second weave in this corner. Over here we only have one weave. So this is where the second one proceeds down to here again. Now we're going to move that secure line over. We'll come up through. Get all this out of the way. And now we'll start our weave. We're over this one. We have an X here. There's two crossed over, so we're introducing the third twine. So this is where our weave starts, right here. Now I've got a short loop. We're over. Get that guy out of the way. We're under. There's the X, not this one. Again, I can pull that out of the way to ensure I'm only getting one weave in the first X. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to pull all the rest of this through to get rid of that twist. Now if you find this end starts to ball up a little bit, just cut it off and reburn it, because it will gather a little bit because it is a braided twine with a core. So we're going to give this a little adjustment to check our distancing, and we're about the same there as the top. Okay, we finished this weave, and as all lines coming from this direction, everything goes down through. It's a very important thing to remember. Always down through with your filling. Unless you started up through, well, that would be a little different, but once you determine your path, keep doing the same thing. We'll get rid of some more twist. And it's time for me to cut this guy and burn it off again. All we're going to do is pull the looseness out of it and try to have another small flat end. And it won't gather as much as we continue on. So now that we've got this equidistant here, this is pretty close. There's not enough room for another one here. So we're at the stage now that we have to come across the top. And we've got a weave introduced on the left corner. We've got the weave introduced on the right hand side. And now, if we try to put another diagonal run here, it's going to take us right back out to the edge. We don't want to do that. So now we're going to still go down through the selvage cord. But this time we're going to come up. I'll get all this out of the way. So we still have approximately the same distance between these tie-ins to the top cords. Now we're going to start to weave across the top. Now, as we do this, then the filling of this whole end now becomes a straight triangle, in that we don't have to use this loop knot anymore to transition the direction. And the only other critical part is deciding when we join up the middle. So, pretty quick step. Get all that out of the way so you can see a little easier. So we're doing our weave here. Everything looks pretty equidistant. I'll pick up this guy here. And the last one. Now we're going to go down through the selvage cord again. Okay, got that little twist there. Okay, we're down through. We're going to come up similar to this. We're going to do that one little twist around, but that cord is now going to go this way. So what we have to do is, again, these diagonals are all under these ones. We're going to go under here. Again, there's no intersecting three twines here, so there's no weave. Now we're going to push this guy over there. And it doesn't really matter if you have one or two between each. It's just the principle of holding the tension on this bottom selvage cord so it doesn't bag up on you and cause a looseness in your weave. Now, we're down here. We'll relic this, or imitate it, excuse me, and we're going to do a weave again. All the way up through. Again, there's our X. That one you have to be very careful to watch, so we don't jump two. Pull it back so we can see what we're doing. Now this process is exactly the same for the larger end. The only difference would be we'll use a little bigger twine. This is a 2.0 nylon twine. If we use too small a twine in the ends, effectively it doesn't give you a displacement or support. And if you use too big a twine, it just balls up. So this is what I found to be the best for this size. In the toe we're going to use a 2.5, but we're going to use a poly. Now, as all the rest of the weaves coming up, we do the twist. In this case, I'm going to put it here. That prevents it from slipping. We go down, and again, the horizontal right runs coming from the left to the right are under here, but they come up right away because they have to be over these ones. Now, we have 2 weaves on this corner, we have 3. The default is we have to put the third one down here because we're not using this loop anymore, so we don't have to go back to the top of the fill. Now we'll take it up through. A little bit of tension to check our alignment, and we start our weave. Small loop, something to hold the tension back on. In the toe, because obviously it's bigger, and technically we're filling a triangle, we're not filling a semicircle. You'd have to use a few more of these side knots simply because the top is a little bit wider. So we'll have a little look here. Going to do a little adjustment. Keep them approximately the same. See if we've got room, and there's room there. We'll just jump this securing cord back. We'll pull it all through. And you can see how this end is building up again. Now, we're going to go down through here again. Now, at this juncture, we can see that these are all pretty well balanced. The distances are good between these 3 over here. This one here can come down a tad. These are all tight. Now we're introducing the third twine here. So now we have to start the weave in the middle. So primarily we're closing up the loop. Now if I hold the twine loosely, and I'll go back through it, we tie in here, then we have to match this one. We tie in here, then we have to match this one. So you can see that the filling process now is basically straight triangles. This one went this side. Now we get over here, we're going to go there, over here, over here. So it's pretty straightforward. We'll do one more pass. I'll get this secured. We'll make a small loop to get some tension. Get a little pinch here, and then grab it back again. So now my tension is with this finger against that knot, till I can get a couple weaves in. There we go. Now we'll use a short loop. And as it gets tighter, and you get near the completion of the webbing, don't go too far before you pull the twine to, because it's going to start to bind. So that's 3. And I don't have a problem with that big end blocking up, but if I had to pull that end through 7 or 8 weaves, it can hook in and spall the twine or nick it. Again, down through and up through first. And as we see, these diagonals are all under, so we got to go back down here. A little tension there. Now, we get to this one, and we have to be under it. But there is now a horizontal run. And we've got the introduction of the 3rd twine, this one here. So we have to start a weave. There's an X, there's an X. This one here, don't want to miss them. Now we take it all through. Now we're going to do a little maintenance here. Do some tension checks. This one we can adjust after the fact. Some people use a little wooden plug for that, but you can use the metal tool as long as you don't nick the twine. Now in this particular case, I think I'm going to go on this side. If I go there, I'm going to gather it up a bit. Don't want to do that. Our end is getting balled up again, so we'll finish this weave and we'll recut. So I'm going to bring that over to there. So my distancing is just about the same as these. You have some flexibility with adjusting them after the fact. Now, this just shows that now we're doing the same thing again. All we're doing now is weaving. Pull that much through. We're going to cut this guy off again. Little roll, and we're good to go. Small loop. Two, three. Now we do a little adjustment on them, and you can see the gapping, and this starts to increase the tension. Push everything out of the way so we can keep everything basically equidistant. Again, now it's just straight around. We're under again, so I'll follow this previous one. But here we have the intersection of 3, and we have those little X's. So we continue to weave now, again, all the way across. And all we're doing is we're following that triangle weave. And we tie in again to prove that, hey, we're not going back up to the top. So it's still basically straight around. Tension. One, two, and the third one, and we'll pull it through. Now, all we have to do is progress, maintaining these parallel runs till there's no more weave openings or double runs left. In this particular case, when we get to here, we can tell how many runs we have left by just counting these little cross sections here, these X's. We're going to have 1, 2, 3 more times to just completely keep going with this triangular form. And when we finish that up, we're going to secure it here with a double knot and a lock, and then we're going to melt back the twine, and this end will be complete. Okay, now that we've got the last 3 runs finished around here, and we're down to the selvage cord by the beam, we're going to tie off this knot, and basically it's a clove hitch or 2 half hitches. That's the first one. We always want a little tension. Get this end up through here. So a little tension, squeezing it from underneath. There's a clove hitch. Now this in itself will work loose and come untied, and you don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a lock knot around that. We're going to go down through, make a little bit of room here. So still we've just got a loop. We're going to pull this through here. And we don't want the knot balled up here. So we're going to just get snug. Take this clamp off. And I'm going to pull this through the other side. Now I'll turn it over. So now we can see the knot that's going to be hidden a little more. Now carefully cut this off and leave enough so that we can melt it back. And when we melt it back with a little wet finger, it'll fuse this all together, so that can't come untied. Getting pretty close. Blow it out. Lots of water. So that one's finished. Now, in starting the second one for the ends, we want to make sure we have the same number of runs in the string, just so that the snowshoes are similar. What I've done here is I've advanced this one to what I thought was the middle. So what we have to do now is we're going to count the horizontal runs on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 12 horizontal runs. And in this one here, we want it to be the same. Now, it's easy to count these, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then we have to count the crosses to see how many we would end up with. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have enough that horizontal runs that we should start to weave in the middle here. And that gives us this end will be finished exactly the same as the other one. Now we'll just tuck this in here. And now that we've started the horizontal run on the top, there's no more changing direction with the string as we did down here with the loop knots. So to finish this one here, it's just a matter of chasing it around in the triangles, similar to what we did on the last one. Now we'll get a couple here. Now that that's secured, and pull that much through. Make sure it's flat. A little tension. Always try to hold your loop back a little bit when you're pulling that tension so that it doesn't cause it to swing right up against the last one. And again, down through. A little twist. And then we'll just follow along parallel to this one. We'll secure it down here at the selvage cord. And then we've got to go around 1, 2, 3, 4 more times. So it's pretty repetitious. We'll come around 4 more times and then we'll secure it down here, similar to how we did this one right here.